Martin Luther King Jr.'s faith was the foundation of his journey, guiding his actions and instilling an unwavering belief in the potential for unity.
Dr. King really emerged from a faith tradition that was about hopefulness in the face of oppression. The danger is if we don't see the urgent need to work together, we won't meet the moment.
Dr. King's teachings encourage us to embrace unity as a force of change. Today, Albany's Sweet Bishop Church and SUNY Binghamton's Nukpofa dance troupe are powerful examples of what is created through faith and unity.
The church does not only exist within the building, within the four walls. The church exists in barbershops, in beauty salons, in supermarkets. The church exists wherever the people are. My name is Reverend Dr. Elgin Joseph Taylor, Sr., Senior Pastor of the Sweet Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church of Albany, New York. The civil rights movement began long before the 60s. It goes back into the 1800s. There were a group of African Americans who were only allowed to worship in the balcony of this church. They were seen and not heard. They could not participate in the worship. They were the employees of those persons that sat in this level of the church who were prominent within the Albany community. They were their housekeepers, they were their butlers, their maids, and they were tired of only being allowed to worship in the balcony, and they walked out on a Sunday. It took a lot of bravery. You don't know what the repercussions may have been in going to work on Monday. They ran the risk of maybe being fired. They walked out of the balcony, started a church, and that church, the Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church, started out of this church. That group of people brings to my mind Rosa Parks, who got tired of being relegated to the back of the bus. They were tired of being relegated to the balcony of the church. If you look at what happened in 1894 and you parallel it next to what happened in the 60s with Dr. Martin Luther King, they are synonymous. Our church is part of the African American history. The church has always been a staple in the community. If you go back to the civil rights movement, it was always the church where Dr. Martin Luther King and others, where they met. They held voter registration. And that's largely because as a people, African Americans weren't allowed to meet in other community venues. So it was always the church. Somewhere along the line, the church has more or less taken a back seat, and we've now reached a pivotal moment where as pastors and leaders of churches, where we have to get the church back to its rightful place in being that driving force in the community. The past is still alive in us. They walked out of a balcony to what was freedom to them. That was in 1894, but right now, today, there are still things that we have to walk out of towards freedom.